Wasting away again in Quarantinaville. That's right. A happy Monday out there, Jeromes. We're back for our daily live stream. Do it up at 11 a.m. I think we're going to do 11 a.m. this week. We tried noon last week, like a little bit earlier. You know what I mean? But of course, you can catch all this on demand as well on our channel. Thank you guys for coming along. Thank you for supporting the work. We're getting through this. We're going through this very odd time. At least we have the draft to talk about. At least we have your Qs. We got a couple of A's in there as well. It's going to be a great time. As well as you want yourself a great time. Have yourself a brand new beverage vessel. Yes, sir. That's right. The Vac Flair mug available from our friends down at Teespring. Check it out in the description below. Help out producer Alice. She's rocking it with the merchandise. There we go. Of course, could get the old OG Green Bay Tears purple. Oh, I'm good at framing things. There you go. Purple for the win mug as well. Available down at Teespring. There you go. So, firing up the chat. If you've got something to say, let us know in the live chat. We got HuskGamer15, OG Jerome. What's going on? As well as he's the first question queued up in the Q&A. So, it should be a good time. So, we're going to fire through the Q&A as well as we'll run a mock draft or two, see what's going on, and help you get through Monday. So, grab a little bit of coffee, grab some lunch, depending on what time zone you're in, or maybe brunch. I mean, since everyone's sort of furloughed and quarantined right now, if you're on the West Coast, it's 9 a.m. You can have brunch. You got brunch on a effing Monday. Why the hell not? All right, so first up, HuskGamer15. Do you think Randy Moss is the greatest wide receiver? If yes, why do you think so? So, I've been seeing some of the national outlets trying to generate content. I feel for them. They're doing like top five. Like who's your top five receivers of all time? Minus Jerry Rice, who they automatically assume is number one. I don't think that he's number one. I mean, respect to the game, respect to the numbers, man. But you played with two Hall of Fame quarterbacks and the greatest offensive mind in NFL history. So cool. Great. So I will say, Randy Moss is one to me just because of just being a sheer matchup nightmare and something that wasn't present in the NFL up to that time and hasn't been replicated since. Like, think about what is the closest thing to Randy Moss since Randy Moss? I'm just talking about a straight burner, go up and get it, just amazing deep threat. Can't really think of one, right? I mean, like maybe parts of AJ Green's game when he was healthy, sure. Maybe parts of Megatron, sure. But yeah, it's really hard to replicate. Like maybe Julio when he's healthy, yeah, maybe why not? But for me, Moss is one. Two, I'm going to put Larry Fitzgerald. And for me, it's more he's been able to play at such a high level with complete trash quarterbacks, complete trash offensive coordinators and coaches minus BA. So the fact that he's able to do that on such bad teams, that for me, Larry Fitz is number two. Chris Carter's number three for me. Of course, that's a homer pick. Jerry Rice would be four. Five is tough. Terrell Owens certainly deserves respect to be there. The fact that T.O. was shut out of the Hall of Fame for so long just because the media didn't like him is just complete poppycock. And also another reason why the national media is just a bunch of garbage. But all right, so we've said for my Hall of Fame criteria, I value short-term sheer dominance more than long-term very goodness. So that's why for me, Marshawn Lynch would be a Hall of Famer before Frank Gore. But I mean, Megatron in his freaking prime, even though he retired early, a couple of those years were dinged up by injury, was just complete and sheer utter dominance, just manhandling. Right? He carried that Lions offense. He made Matthew Stafford a 5,000-yard quarterback. It just complete redonkulousness. So there you go. Couple questions from the chat. Darius Martin, do you think Jalen Hurts at pick 58 would be a good pickup? It would be if they didn't extend Cousins, but I think since they did extend him, I think that they're gonna go for other positions of need. So build around Cousins for a year or two. So we'll see from there. Tyler, if the Vikings trade Harris, who's the best replacement, Mckinney, Delpit, or Winfield? I think Delpit is the best all-around safety. Winfield is really intriguing in terms of what he can do in sub-packages. But if you're just looking for a one-on-one replacement, I think it would be Mckinney. Since even though he ran a slow 40 at the combine, whatever, his ball skills are amazing. Plus, he's got a little bit of Minkah Fitzpatrick to him where he can just play all over the place. He can play slot, he can play corner, he can play free safety, he can do all that stuff. So Vikings specifically, I would pick McKinney. In general, I think Delpit is a better player, and then Winfield is just kind of fun overall. Next up, Dua. Why does everyone dislike Riley Reef? Is it just because of his contract? Partly because of his contract, and partly because he's okay. But at a certain level, okay is not good enough. As well as you saw how he played in big time spots. Like you see how he operates against Khalil Mack. You saw how he did against Nick Bosa in the divisional round. Where, I mean, he's almost like a microcosm of the Vikings, right? Overpaid, plays well against bad competition, but once the heat gets turned up, not so much. Adam Root. How much cap space do the Vikings have at the moment, and why don't they go after Logan Ryan? They have about 12, I believe the numbers from today. After Logan Ryan, I don't know. It does seem like he would be relatively cheap. I think he would be a really nice pickup for Nickelback. Probably could be had for $4 million per year. But I don't know. Nusrad G. Thoughts on the top 3 TV shows in order: Sopranos, Peaky Blinders, Breaking Bad. So for me, Breaking Bad would be clear 1. Didn't really get into Peaky Blinders. Didn't really get into Sopranos. Like Sopranos, I understand like they changed TV. Like they made TV like an actual commodity. I just never really got into it. A little bit dated from my taste. It's almost like The Wire, where I like The Wire. I've watched most of it, but it's not like the that some people put it up. So for me, Breaking Bad, probably Sopranos out of respect for history, and then Peaky Blinders. Amaya Deshpande. Are you concerned about Jalen Johnson's shoulder surgeries after doing my evaluation as my cornerback 6, where he's landing your list? I'm not overly concerned. Yeah, there's going to be some medical flags on a couple of these guys, but Jalen Johnson for me, just because I just like his style. And for me, I was like more aggressive cornerbacks than, say like physical guys that check the physical boxes like Trey Waynes that certainly was not aggressive enough, except for in the run game. So for me, it's so Okudah 1, CJ Henderson 2, but Christian Fulton 3. Specifically for the Vikings, I would put AJ Terrell a little bit lower. So I would put Gladney. So Okudah, CJ Henderson, Christian Fulton, and then sort of like a flat tier of AJ Terrell and Gladney and also Jalen Johnson. And then also put Trevon Diggs in there, but obviously it's not going to work out for the Vikings. And then I would put like Dantzler, even though I don't think he's necessarily what the Vikings need. Dantzler, Bryce Hall, the Auburn kid. Yeah. So next up, Keith Gunderson, Gandy Golden thoughts. Pick him up in Tyler Johnson, the 3rd round. I haven't done as deep a dive on Gandy Golden as we will. We're doing 3 mid-round wide receivers for the Vikings. Gandy Golden's going to be one of them. But just in terms of physical upside, small school kid, you worry about level competition. But the fact that he dominated it, it's for sure a very intriguing prospect mid-rounds. But, I mean, if the Vikings pulled off AGG and Tyler Johnson 3rd round, I mean, it's not terrible. I think Tyler Johnson comes in and contributes right away. AGG is going to be one of the more developmental guys. Certainly could be interesting. Buck Waller, $2 in Super Chat. Video on Winona State draft prospect Nick Pridgeon. Even though I'm a Winona State alum, I did not know that, man. I'll have to dig in a little bit. He certainly is no Jack Nelson, Captain Jack, numero 19 in your hearts. Numero 1 in Bueno. 19 in the program, number 1 in your hearts. There you go. Newsrad G. Thoughts on the best cornerback of all time? Dion, Charles Woodson, Darrell Green. Darrell Green doesn't get the love that he deserves. I mean, this is a guy who could run a 4.3 40 in his 40s, like literally. Was really great for a long time. A longevity certainly on his side. Charles Woodson literally might be up there as one of the GOATs. Also transitioned to safety, so that adds to his prowess. Same thing with Rod Woodson, too, by the way. I would say Dion, just because, like, when he was on his game, like, he was I'll put Revis up there, too. But Dion, just in terms of the flashiness, just in terms of when he got that pick, high-stepping. Also, him as a returner is extremely dangerous. He played a little bit of wide receiver for the Cowboys, too, which I thought was interesting. But I'm going to put Revis 1. Just in terms of when Revis was freaking Revis Island, Like, no one would go to his side. He was such a clean, clinical technician at its position, just completely shut down other teams' wide receiver ones, except for Stevie Johnson. Stevie Johnson from Buffalo just had his number. It's hard to explain, right? But yeah, for me, Revis still won. Also, Revis is undefeated in terms of negotiating his contract. Like, he got so much money. He got quarterback money for a cornerback before it was cool. It was amazing. Preacher Paul, afternoon Jeromes from Montana. I say no to 1 year, $4 million. Prove it. The cornerback should have kept Mackenzie Alexander. I agree, but it did seem like there's a little bit of bad blood there between Mac and the franchise. Cyberbully123. Who's going to be Lizzo's new man on the Minnesota Vikings? Well, it's got to be Michael Pierce, right? I mean, I don't know if Michael Pierce has a significant other, but Lizzo, come on. Fitz Crackers 25. With such a deep wide receiver class, do you think it would be smart for the Vikings to focus on edge players since the position has less depth? Certainly, we've gotten that argument because you see a lot of mock drafts mocking Gross Matos to the Vikings. So I'd say maybe, but just like with everything, even though a wide receiver is deep, there are certainly tiers. Like, there's a big difference between Judy, Ruggs, Lamb, and even like the second tier wide receivers versus what you're going to get in the third round, right? Same thing with cornerback. So, I mean, sure, to a degree. I mean, if Clavon Chasen just falls to the Vikings 22, it'd be like, okay. Yeah. Zach Ballas. NFL Game Pass is free. Any game the last 10 years you recommend watching? I already watched Greg Lewis, Favre, Minneapolis Miracle. The 2013 Blizzard game against the Ravens, where it was a complete bat bleep insane. Well, maybe we can't say bat anymore, but completely insane final quarter. All right, let's look that up. PFR 2013 Vikings, because you'll find that one of my favorite pastimes is just looking up old box scores and just like going over the redonkulousness of it. All right, come on. Yes, cookies. Yes, whatever. Yes, accept. Let's take my money and my data. All right, so Ravens won 29-26. Eventually, this got to be 5-10-1. So Leslie Frazier rallied the troops, and so going to the fourth quarter, it was 7-6 because it was in a blizzard. 7-6. Final score 29-26. So just completely insane. So let's pull this up. So, I mean, just the names in this. Jerome sent touchdown pass from Matt Castle. Dennis Pitta before his hip fell apart from Flacco. Torrey Smith on the 2-point try. Toby Gerhardt, 41-yard rumble. Jacoby Jones, 77-yard kick return. Cordero, 79-yard screen pass from Matt Castle. What is up? And, of course, final 45 seconds with no timeouts. Joe Flacco marches the Ravens 80 yards in a blizzard to hit something called Marlon Brown for the game-winning touchdown. Just so annoying. But, I mean, just like box score. So this is a game where Adrian played early on, got dinged up. Toby came in, 15 for 89 and the tutty. No big deal. Matt Castle, below 50% completion percentage. Yeah, what's up? Cordero Patterson, Greg Jennings, Jerome Simpson. Oh, Ray Rice was in this game. Cool. Oh, John Carlson, the pride of Litchfield, is in this game. Just amazing. Brandon Stokely was here for some reason. Man, Jarius Wright, Chase Ford, just the UB and the U. Man. I just love this. Defensively, why is this combined? All right, so there we go. So Greenway, Deho, Daylight coming and want to go home. Audie Cole had 13 tackles in this game. Wow. I mean, this is just insane. Yeah. Oh, Larry Dean, Pride Larry Dean, Jamarcus Sanford, Blanton, Chris Cook. This game had everything. Jared Allen was there, had a sack. Good on you. Oh, Fred Evans, D tackle. Sharif. Still miss Sharif. A future Hall of Famer, Kevin Williams. I mean, this is just insane. I love this box score. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Also look at the starters. So back when the Vikings O-line was actually competent, well, on the right side. So Sully, Fusco, Lodeholt, the remnants of Matt Khalil, as well as Charlie Johnson. Remember Charlie Johnson was like, hey, let's try him a left tackle. Oh, he's terrible. Let's kick him in a guard. Oh, he's terrible. Can we move him some more? Oh, B-Rob, K-Will, Jared, Guyon, Beckham Audie Cole was your starting middle linebacker. Get some. Let's go. Let's go. Man, it's just a good time. Anyways, yeah, watch that game. TJ all day. Is it true Mac hasn't signed with the Bengals yet? I haven't seen the unofficially, officially, but since it's weird now, since teams can't make official contact, can't get physicals on stuff, you're seeing a couple of deals fall through. I mean, like Darqueze Dennard with the Jaguars. Same thing with Michael Brockers and the Ravens. So you're saying there's a chance, maybe. Max Kellenberg, what are your thoughts on doing the draft round one round a night for an entire week? Allows team to focus on certain players. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But also, I mean, I feel like 3 nights is actually dragging this thing out. I for sure miss the draft on Saturday, Sunday, rounds 1, 2, 3 Saturday, and the rest on Sunday. I mean, that was just a great weekend. I mean, weather was getting nice. Get outside. Was able to good. It was good. All right, next up. Kyle Rippentrop. But yeah, if world with no sports, I mean, the NFL would make so much bank if they did that. But yeah. Kyle Rippentrop. Will Tajay Sharp be like Kendall Wright and Michael Floyd, or will he be a legit wide receiver too? Best thing to eat at a college tailgate. So, yeah, you guys remember Kendall Wright? Pride of Baylor. That one worked out great. So it was so weird with Floyd, where, I mean, this is a dude who is a multi-year 1,000-yard receiver in this league. And the fact that he just came in and couldn't even be a wide receiver 4, that was surprising. So the same thing with Kendall Wright, where he had recent success with the Titans. But with me, Tajay, I feel like Tajay has shown enough sparks where he could be something legit. And even though he got buried on the depth chart with Tennessee, I mean, last year he had 4 touchdowns, was still contributing somewhat. So I think that he could potentially develop into maybe not a 2, but certainly a 3. Maybe could fill that role that Jarius Wright played for so many years early on with the Vikings. So him, BC, rookies TBD, sure. JD Matt, best thing to eat at college tailgate. I'm always a brats guy, like sausage. JD Mack, bringing JJ Nelson as a deep speed guy, yay or nay? I mean, if league minimum, for sure. That's something that I do think the Vikings are lacking right now. Like, they are missing a little bit of speed on the outside. Yeah. Husgamer 15. Is it possible to get a first-round compensatory pick? No. If so, what would they have to lose to get it? So, compensatory picks, 32 of them total. They're doled out at the end of the 3rd, 4th, 6th, and 7th rounds. Maximum of 4 per team. So there you go. And it's offsetting from free agency. But, man, it would be tight to get a first-round compensatory pick. Brett Versalis, why do you think the Vikings have not signed a cornerback yet? I think that the market is just really flooded right now because, I mean, we've done 2 videos now just of veteran near minimum cornerbacks are just floating out there. Or this could be a spot where teams are actually waiting for the draft to go through, and then also compensatory picks go away so they can sign guys that are off of expired contracts. So maybe they're waiting after this pretty deep cornerback class goes through, and then they pick through the veterans at discount deals. Certainly could be possible there. White Wolf, who's a monthly Jerome. Find out how he can become a monthly or platinum Jerome by hitting that join box down below. White Wolf, I know it's a big cliche, but I'm looking at our current wideouts. I just can't stop thinking we need a real speedster. It's fine. I know it's overplayed and speed isn't everything at all. I just want someone that can take the top off the defense. So I see your point for sure. I think BC is a solid possession receiver on the outside, but just in terms of, I mean, you saw what even a guy like Aldrick Robinson brought to the table in 2018, with Kirk Cousins. Just a straight speed guy. So look in the draft, look at like KJ Hamler. I mean, if the Vikings somehow end up with Ruggs at 22, that'd certainly be interesting. But yeah, just I mean, with Kansas City, you saw with Tyreek Hill as well as with Mecole Hardman, just adding absolute speed on the outside can stretch the defense. And Kirk Cousins is one of the better deep ball quarterbacks in the league, so I wouldn't be mad at that. Dylan Knowles in the live chat. Do you think Tampa Bay road game or the Vikings would be worth the vacation to attend? Thinking about it, yeah. I mean, if fans are allowed to travel to games by that time, I think that would be a nice little get. Plus, maybe a little bit of expensive ticket because of Tom Brady. But also if it's later on in the season, like a week 15 December road game in Tampa, it's always a nice getaway for Minnesotans. R. Wheeler, Does anyone else hope that the Vikings draft 2 corners in the first round? I don't necessarily see there being great value there if they stood pat at 22-25, taking 2 corners, like unless like Fulton and say Fulton and like Fulton Terrell, like maybe, but I think there's just so much other great value at offensive line, D line, wide receiver as well that I don't really necessarily see 2 corners back to back in the first round. Now, if they trade up both first to go get Akuda, baby, you got a stew going. Maybe I'd be in. Max McElroy. Are the Vikings more likely to trade up, trade back, or keep both of the first round picks? The more times I just look at this draft, this is really sexy for like say picks 30 through 60, 30 through 55. So I would be on board with team trade back because I don't necessarily see a trade up unless the right guy falls into the teens. Like say Kinlaw falls into the teens, CJ Henderson falls into the teens, say Judy or Lamb starts taking a draft day tumble, then maybe. But the more I look at this draft is really sexy late first as well as the second round. So if the Vikings can trade back, get some more draft sugar, as well as get multiple picks in that second round, that'd be okay. Hunter Williams, Skull from Cooney, and who's your favorite non-Viking of all time? Dan Marino's pretty legit. Just watching him, the freaking statue back there would have been a Viking if his ankle hadn't fell off, but just him. Like 6'6", just throwing darts all over the place, and his cadence. His Tourette's was out there like cadence. Plus him and Ace Ventura: Pet Detective was pretty funny too. Also, his cameo in Bad Boys 2 was pretty good. Dan Marino should definitely buy this car. Well, not this one because I'm gonna F this one up. That was a great cameo. Marino's up there. Barry Sanders for sure. Was definitely up there. I'm trying to think of a pass rusher. I'm sure there's an edge guy I really like. Aaron Donald's really fun. JJ, when he was at his peak, was certainly up there. I think he's fallen off the last couple of years, though. I think he's certainly on a decline. Even though he's a stupid Badger. Should have been a gopher, except I fired Glenn Mason, but that's another story for another day. So, yeah. Cyberbully123. Do you think that players leaving their original franchise early impacts their legacy? People remember Larry Fitzgerald, Ray Lewis, Elway for being in their time for the same career. Maybe to a degree, but also, does it necessarily hurt Drew Brees? People much remember Brees as a Saint as opposed to a Charger. Like some people don't even know that Drew Brees was a Charger. I don't think necessarily. I do think as a fan. It is great to know that a player was in one city the whole time. Like Everson, if he had stayed a Viking for his entire career, would have been fantastic. But also, so many players just end up at different spots, and that's just the nature of the beast. Like Franco Harris as a Seahawk, like John Randall as a Seahawk, like Kevin Williams as a Seahawk, like Sidney Rice as a Seahawk. I don't know. Or like Jared Allen, even though he was originally a Chief, people forget he was a Chief. Ending up with the Bears, or Alan Page ending up with the Bears. I'm trying to think of some other ones. Like Johnny Unitas as a Charger. Yeah, that's certainly up there. Joe Montana as a Chief. I don't think that negatively impacted his career. Emmitt Smith as a Cardinal, etc. So I think it is exceedingly rare for a great player to stay with one team for so long. But props to the ones that do. W Bang, $10 in super chat. If the draft goes bonkers and Tua starts to fall due to injury concerns and lands at 22, do you take him or trade the pick? Also, thoughts on Gross Matos? Reminds me of Hunter coming out. Gross Matos is certainly interesting. I don't think it's really a position of need, especially when the Vikings have other spots. But if he is there at 22, Gross Matos, that is, I wouldn't be upset. I prefer Gross Matos over edge guys like Bond from Wisconsin or Espinenza from Iowa for sure. I'd much prefer Chasen from LSU if he somehow fell. But I am warming up to the idea in terms of just like BPA. Also, 2 at 22. I don't think they would take him just because of deference to Kirk Cousins. I do think they would ransom off that pick, though. I think there would be a number of very interested teams. But also, if he's falling that far, I think another team would jump up in the late teens and probably go grab him. All right, so next up, Amari Ellis. Do you think the Vikings should make any trades? So what trades? Anthony Harris straight up for Trent Williams. We're going to do a video on that later on today. People get so mad, by the way, when we talk about trades. Amaya Deshpande. I studied most of day one and day two offensive line. Many are developmental projects. Are you comfortable with our current starting five? No. And who should we take a guy who could be an instant starter? Well, Thomas, Wirfs, Becton, Wills would obviously start day one. I think Josh Jones would start day one. Same thing, Austin Jackson. I think Ezra Cleveland would start day one. Interior offensive lineman, I think Cushenberry would start day one. Maybe Biadish at one of the guard spots. Same thing with Cesar Ruiz. Jonah Jackson maybe push to day one. John Simpson from Clemson maybe push start at one of the guard spots day one. Robert Hunt, I think, would come and start day one immediately. And yeah, I think there's probably 24 day one starters, offensive line that would start for the Vikings day one, day two. Johnny Yang Fitness, who are your top 5 sleeper picks in the draft and why? Man, this goes a little deep. All right, so I like Matt Peart from UConn. We just did a video on him. I like James Lynch, versatile defensive lineman from Baylor. Let's see who else here. I like Duggar, the safety from Lenore Ryan, except I think he's going to be a day 2 pick, so not much of a sleeper there. I do like Kamal Martin, the linebacker from Gophers. I think he's just a tackling machine. I think he's going to come in and play some nice special teams, maybe work his way up from a backup, be a little bit something down the line. I like Levante Bellamy, running back from Western Michigan, specifically for what the Vikings do in the zone scheme. Also, I really like J.J. Nelson, the tiny Darren Sproles adjacent type little spark plug joystick player from Arizona. Let's see who else. Is Anthony Gordon counted as a sleeper from Hawaii? Probably not anymore. I do like Tyler Huntley, the quarterback from Utah. I do like Mason Fine, the quarterback from North Texas. Wide receiver sleepers. I mean, Tyree Cleveland, I feel like he never got the time of day with Florida. DPJ, Donovan Peoples-Jones from Michigan. Big-time recruit, just never panned out in Michigan. I don't think he's necessarily a sleeper. I think he'll be a mid-round pick. So, yeah, there you go. Seth Grissom, $5 in Super Chat. Thoughts on Omar Bayless out of Arkansas State? Do play in the Sun Belt, but still finished on one of the Super. I haven't done enough homework on Omar Bayless to have a real opinion on him, but we'll do that and we'll get back to you. Because I'm lazy in my draft prep, to be honest. I mean, we'll finally hit our peak like 2 days before the draft, but it is what it is. White Wolf again. I have no doubt there's no national media or sports ball YouTuber that does half a good job as you. So glad you're a Vikes fan and Vikings-based channel. You really could, man. Thank you for the kind words. Also, yeah, I'm a sucker for just complete gratuitous praise. So I love that one. So love you guys, and thank you guys so much for consuming the content, making it really fun, make it really worthwhile to just do this really fun little side hustle. Nellie Thorne. I'm good at reading. What are your thoughts on Vikings trading for D. Watson, quarterback? Well, if Cousins didn't sign the extension and he waived his no trade clause, I would have been down to clown for it. Like, if Cousins hadn't signed the extension and hadn't made it complete murder dead cap wise, like, I'm pretty sure he's like $91 million in dead cap this year. Like, if the Vikings took on that dead cap, could they ask for a bailout? I'm sorry, $62 million dead cap this year, so they're probably not going to move him. But, man, if he had waived his no-trade clause, Deshaun's still on his rookie deal, I would have given up Cousins and a 1. I would have. Maybe even more. I really like Deshaun Watson. I think they're doing him really dirty in Houston. They're potentially getting rid of Tunsil, his left tackle, as well as, I mean, they gave away Nuke. It's just really gross. Also, since we got some people in the chat, let us know where you're watching from. We'll give a couple of shout outs there. Davis Warrow, you should do film on Laviska Shenault. Haven't done film, but we did a draft profile on him a couple weeks ago, even before they traded for Diggs. So I really like Shenault. He's a hell of a lot of fun. He is, I know we've been trying to chase this for so long, but he is Percy Harvin adjacent. He is super, super interesting. Tristan, I think the Vikings will trade up to get Andrew Thomas. If I could pick any player in the draft of the Vikings, that's who I want to be. Yeah, I know that like Wills and Wirfs and Becton are getting a lot of the love lately, but for me, Andrew Thomas is like the best left tackle prospect in this draft. He's immediate day one starter, and we even did a video a couple weeks ago about trading up for Andrew Thomas. We got laughed at, but I said get out of here. I think the Vikings, honestly, if they want to give up 22-25 to go up and get Andrew Thomas, I would not be upset at all, like in the least. Cyberbully123. Who would have won if they played each other? 2001 Miami Hurricanes or 2002 USC? So this is a good question. Sports reference, just for looking up some of these teams. Because, I mean, the 2001 Hurricanes, if you got Frank Gore as your third string running back, get out here. And that 04 USC team is pretty legit too. 04 USC Trojans. There you go. All right, so here we go. That 01 Canes team, captained by Ken Dorsey. Great. But, I mean, just look at the names here. Clinton Portis was your leading rusher. Willis McGahee was your backup. Frank Gore was your 3. Najee Davenport turned out to be a decent NFL fullback there. Jarrett Payton, son of Sweetness, was your running back 4. Great. And then receiving. Receiving. So Andre Johnson, Jeremy Shockey. The fact that Andre Johnson only got that many receiving yards just because they just bashed teams and they were such a good running team too. So Kevin Beard, Ethnic Sands, he's on the all-name OK game team. Let's see here. Kellen Winslow the second. Oh, he's having issues. So he's there. Defense. Ed Reed, Philip Buchanan ended up being a first-round pick by the Raiders. Let's see here. Jerome McDougal, Antrell Roll, William Joseph, Jonathan Vilma, Vince Wilfork. Man, my freaking this team was so good. You had Andre Johnson returning kicks just for the LOLs. I mean that's insane. It's absolutely insane. Man, I love that team. One of the all-time great college teams. Now 2004 Trojans. No slouch either. So, yeah, Matt Castle, future 7th-round pick Matt Castle, just sitting there chilling. Matt Leinart does the damn thing. But Lendale White is your leading rusher, by the way, just because Reggie Bush was just Captain Do-It-All. See who else here. Dominic Byrd, the tight end. Steve Smith, the other one. Second leading receiver, Dwayne Jarrett. If you guys remember him, numero uno in your hearts. Man. Fred Davis had a couple of decent years in Washington. Maybe we're Kirk Cousins. Maybe not. But defensively, yeah. All right, so Lofa Tatupu, who, man, extremely underrated. Had a great career with the Seahawks. Eric Wright, Terrell Thomas, Lawrence Jackson, Keith Rivers. Man, I mean, some of these teams are just completely insane. But for me, I mean, that 01 Canes team, it's a Canes thing. It really is. This team was absolutely dominant in all phases and just completely smacked the hell out of everyone. I mean, I know the cliched argument, would the best college team beat the worst NFL team? This team would have a chance against the worst NFL team because this is an NFL team. So screw you right in their face. So Russell Mullins driving across North Texas, taking supplies out west. Thank you for getting out there and keeping stores and stacked and whatnot. Transportation, man. Truck drivers, by the way, just amazing right now. Let's see here. Oh, got some throwdown in the chat right now. It's kind of funny. Pete Alaris, Phoenix, Arizona. Joseph Morin, Dallas, Texas. Francisco Ancelo, Lisbon, Portugal. Quinn Walcott, Omaha. Shout out Warren Buffett. What's going on? Luke Newman, Nodak. Plebeian. Oh, nice reference. The Plebs, Tribune of the Plebs, Salt Lake City. We got Isaiah Hansen, Chicago. We got Kyle Bold, Rio de Janeiro. What's going on? Tapa 63, Cologne, Germany. Man, what's the deal? New York. Man, love it. Love it. We're nationwide as well as international. Kevin K, Milwaukee, Heart of the Enemy. Yeah, Milwaukee, North Chicago. Hey, Milwaukee's really the worst city because you get a mix of Bears and Packers fans. Just fantastic. There you go. So, heart you guys. M Carp Yo from Missouri. What's going on? Show me state. Show me 8. There we go. All right. Back to the Q's and A's. That's a fun one. All right, so next up is Eric Hansen. Have you ever seen the movie Purple Rain? If you haven't, why not? If you have, what's your take on it? I've seen parts of it. It's not a good movie. Like, it is a great album. It's a great song. It's Prince. It's amazing. It was a terrible movie. Like, it's one of those movies that are so bad it's good. It's not quite The Room, but it's certainly very niched, very nostalgic. But it's Apollonia. I mean, come on. I guess the best part of it is that it did give us Morris Day in the time. Morris Day in the mother time. That's right. Jack Ellis. If Fulton or Henderson dropped to 22 and we take them, but then on day 2, Johnson, do immediately think double up and focus on man. All right, Fulton, Henderson, they're 22. I'm definitely taking Henderson. But yeah, I'm certainly okay with doubling down on cornerback, especially if there's top tier talent there. Like if they went cornerback 22, and then day 2 Jalen Johnson is there either in round 2 or somehow they're round 3. Perfectly fine with that. Perfectly fine. Vincent, in fact, positions with 12 draft picks and 5 in the top 105. I want doubling back on cornerback, wide receiver, and offensive line, and maybe even tripling on offensive line. Vincent favorite. Should the Vikings sign Taylor Gabriel? And on a side fan, are you Lord of the Rings fan? Lord of the Rings, no. Taylor Gabriel, yeah, nah. Jack Martinson, who are your top 5 Minnesota athletes of all time? All right, so for me, Randy Moss 1. I would go Kirby Puckett 2. Kirby Puckett. KG 3. Then it gets pretty bunched up. So for me, it's like Chris Carter, but of course that's a generational thing. I would put do Gophers count? Because I'll put Bobby Jackson in there because Bobby Jackson was a bad man with those socks in the 97 Final Four team, which really happened. I still remember. That's right. I'll put Ken Herbeck. I really like Ken Herbeck or Torrey Hunter. Harmon Killebrew, legacy, respect. Sure. Ryan O'Sullivan. Do you watch or know the show Big Mouth? It's quite funny. I haven't watched it. Is that the Nick Kroll show? The animated show? But that's certainly my kind of humor. I love the league. I think Rafi's in that show too. Yeah. Isaac Ruprecht, Oakdale in the house. Seth Grissom, Jonesboro, Arkansas. That's right. You guys grow great tomatoes in Arkansas. As well as that's where Barry Seal was Barry Seal was killed in Baton Rouge. But he flew coke into Arkansas and got pardoned by Governor Bill Clinton. It's a wild story. Yeah. See here. Let's skip on right. Marty Mack. Varsity Blues is the greatest sports movie of all time. The freaking Dawsons, not to mention the whipped cream bikini. Yeah, I sort of forgot Varsity Blues on our top 3 football movie list, but Varsity Blues is definitely up there. R.I.P. Paul Walker. Yeah, but I mean Billy Bob. The greatest part of it is that I love that Billy Bob plays Billy Bob in this movie, and then he basically plays Billy Bob in the Not Another Teen movie version of this. That's funny. Mary Aguilera. Hello from Mile High. Have you done any tape on quarterback Trajan Brady from the U? Bandy from the U. If so, do you think it would be a good fit with Zimmer? I've not done a lot of work on Trajan Brady, even though he's from the U. I'm a closet U fan, but we'll do a little and we'll get back to you. Oakview. Do you believe Adam Thielen will ever win a Super Bowl? Well, will he go to the Patriots? I don't know. I really don't know. I would love for him to get one. I think it'd be really great. I think it would be a really fairy tale story. 35-year-old Adam Thielen just drags his ass out on the field wherever the hell the Super Bowl is that year, leading the Vikings to a Super Bowl dub. I just love it. Obsa. Absa Abdi. Done a ton of mock drafts on your channel. If you compare each rookie we drafted as a song, minimum 5, what would it be? Oh, man. I would have to do a lot more digging on this. I really would. Yeah. Hunter Williams. Are we favorites to get Trent Williams? And have you seen the first Ace Ventura? Well, yeah. First Ace Ventura for sure. I mean, Dan Marino one time. Although, man, the whole... I mean, given the wokeness of today, all the transphobic jokes, I don't know if they would fly nowadays. I don't know. It's still a great movie. Hunter Williams. Favorite Trent Williams. The Jets are in there, the Bengals, possibly even the Browns. So there's certainly going to be competition. I think that's why Washington's sort of waiting and biding their time. And I think it could come down to the draft. Like if teams need a tackle, whiff on like the big 5, big 6 offensive tackles. So maybe something happens then. King Duck Cat, Vikings goals for next season. Survive the Rona, as well as 11-5, win the division, etc. Eric Normal. Do you think it's possible for the NFL season to take place with no arena attendance, just TV revenue, etc.? Yeah, I think TV revenue is so gigantic that the NFL would certainly be fine with that. As well as you think about it too, even though, yeah, tickets, game day concessions, parking, all that stuff certainly adds up in terms of revenue, but also you think of the overhead costs. You think of, well, unfortunately, I hope the NFL owners do the right thing and pay those game day employees, because I mean it's $1 billion industry. I mean that's a big loss of revenue for a bunch of those people as well. But you think of the staffing, security, everything else that goes into game day, that does take away a big chunk of overhead costs as well. So if they're just playing these games in empty stadiums, I mean even though you are losing out on millions of dollars of revenue, I think that does offset. Plus, I mean those, all right, so 16 times 60,000, 50,000. Well, less than that if they were the Chargers last year. But so 50,000 times however many games there are that week are now at home watching the game as well. And plus, you know that there's a very specifically NFL demographic that's fully locked in if you're paying for parking and paying for tickets and all that stuff. So they're going to be dialed in at home. So I think that factors in as well. Chris Reisel, would you give up 2 1s for Judy? I like Judy. I wouldn't give up the 2 1s for him. Now, I would give up a 1 and the 2. I would give up the 1 and the 2 for Judy or Lamb. Yeah. Little known perfection. Kirk Cousins is a top 6 to 10 quarterback in the NFL. Changed my mind. Well, on a given day, for sure. On a given day, he may even ascend into the top 5. But the question is, you don't know what day is going to be, and it's probably not going to be against a good team in prime time. Paul Morse, favorite Taco Bell order. I haven't gone to Taco Bell in a long time. But like the 2 a.m. drunken college order would be Crunchwrap Supremes, or recently, or in recent years, it would have been like the breakfast Crunchwrap Supreme, or just go after it. Yeah. Foreign Savage 87. Do you ever watch Bollywood films, sir? Does Slumdog Millionaire count? Because that would probably be the only one. Yeah. Brian Niaz, do you believe in QAnon? Is that the White House leak account on like Reddit or 4chan or something? If so, I don't have an opinion on it. Nusrat G. Thoughts on top 3 coaches: Parcells, Belichick, Mike Shanahan. So Shanahan, no. Parcells, maybe, but a lot of Parcells' success was due to Bill Belichick. Like, Parcells never won a Super Bowl without Belichick, if you think about it. So I would say Belichick is 1 for me. Bill Walsh, pretty clearly number 2. I sigh because I'm thinking about who number 3 would be. It might be Joe Gibbs. It may be Joe Gibbs, because I feel like he's extremely underrated and underappreciated. He won Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks, which is extremely hard to do. As well as, even though they didn't have a lot of success when Daniel Snyder brought him back, the season that Sean Taylor, unfortunately, was just murdered. I mean, there's no other way to put it. The coaching job that he did, actually, let's look that up. PFR, Joe Gibbs, because they went 8-8, and they had a late break, trying to get into the playoffs. Oh, they ended up 9-7. So there you go. So Washington 9-7. All right, so let's look it up. When did Sean Taylor die? Wiki Sean Taylor. Man, it's just a really unfortunate story too. So November 27th. November 27th, 07. So, let's see here. All right, so the last couple weeks. All right. So this is a team that was 5-6 after Sean before Sean Taylor was killed. So the first game back was December 2nd. Remember, that was the game that Reed Doughty was the safety who took over for Chris Reisel. Welcome to the Platinum Jerome Club, man. You are the best. We'll get your email and we'll get you into the private Slack chat. It's pretty great. All right, so because remember, the Buffalo Bills game was the game where Reed Doughty was the replacement for Sean Taylor, but the Washington took the field with 10 men, and out of tribute to Sean Taylor. It was great and emotional. Fred Jackson ran for like a 17-yard gain up the side because it's just like whatever. But, I mean, Joe Gibbs here, so they lost that Buffalo game, fell to 5-7, and Sean Taylor was beloved in that locker room. He was a great guy, great teammate. A little bit quiet, a little bit just did your business and went home sort of guy for sure. Great father as well. That really did change his life. But I mean, most locker rooms would have fell apart. I mean, with Washington as well. I mean, they weren't a great team. But the fact that they rallied off 4 straight wins, one including beating the Vikings too, by the way, on Sunday Night Football. The fact that they rallied. Oh, they actually did make the playoffs. I forgot about that. All right, so they actually did make the playoffs. They eventually lost to Seattle. Seattle made the Super Bowl that year, didn't they? But the fact that Joe Gibbs was able to do that was just amazing to me. They lost in the division round. Oh, yeah, they lost in the division round to the Packers. Yeah. So there you go. So yeah, for me, yeah, that's a long way of saying Belichick, Bill Walsh, Joe Gibbs. Smelly butter Sutter. Do you like steak? I'm a big red meat fan, if you can't tell. Toby Jerome. Actually, no. If I only ate red meat, going full carnivore, I would be a much slimmer man. But I mean, in the quarantine, Doritos are amazing. Yeah, Toby Jerome. Sleeper quarterback coming out of this draft. I really like Tyler Huntley out of Utah. I like Mason Fine, North Texas as well. Let's see what you guys said. Lewerke from Michigan State. Nicholas Meyer. I think we need a big nickel 3-4 outside linebacker replace Curse. Anyone you like in the draft. Isaiah Simmons. Let's go get him. For sure. Don't have anyone that comes to mind specifically replacing that Curse role. The Maryland safety Brooks Jr. could be fitting in that mold. More of a late round pick, sure. Donovan Lee. Seems like Deshaun Watson isn't happy. Man, all these questions would be way, way better if Kirk didn't sign that extension. Yeah. Kellen Smith was the worst pick in the first round of Vikings history. Well, you kind of have to go Demetrius Underwood, right? Because he never played it down for the Vikings. But if you had to pick one who actually played, Michael Bennett is up there for sure. Joseph Jamarillo coming along as a monthly Jerome. Shout out. Welcome aboard, man. Also, if you want to join Chris Reisel as well as Joseph, hit that join box down below. Find out who can become a monthly Platinum Jerome, support independent work. So, I mean, it's either Troy Williamson. Trying to think. Who was the Wisconsin jabroni? Not Michael Bennett, but he's certainly up there too. All right, so we're going to look it up. 2005 NFL draft. There we go. Because he was part of that draft. It wasn't Kenichi Desi, because he was from USC, as well as he had the health issues. So no big deal there. All right. Yeah, my Fitbit said move your ass, but yeah. All right, so the Vikings took... Oh, Erasmus James. Yeah, there it is. There's the name. Now, I know that the Vikings get criticized like, oh, you passed on Aaron Rodgers twice. You had 2 first-round picks. Oh, you stupid idiots. All that thing. Well, remember, in 2004, Dante Culpepper was coming off of an MVP-adjacent season. Like, Dante Culpepper was freaking the man, right? So you're telling me that if you have an MVP caliber quarterback and you just gave away Randy Moss, yes, that you were just going to draft a guy that you weren't even going to play. All right, so yeah, look at Dante Culpepper's 04 season. No, I didn't want to click that. Get out of here. Dante Culpepper, stop moving things. Yeah, this is what bugs me about websites sometimes is where they'll have pop-up ads that will change where the positioning when they know that you're going to click the right way. So anyways, Dante Culpepper on an 8-8 football team, by the way. 4,717 yards passing, 39 touchdowns, and a partridge in a pear tree. Like, if the Vikings would have made the playoffs that year, he would have been MVP over, I think Peyton won that year. Yeah, but Dante was a bad man. So you're telling me that this quarterback, who, by the way, you Kirk Cousins stat stuffing apologists, you're telling me that you should have just taken a quarterback in the first round in 05? Nah, I say nay to you, sir. But, man, this 05 draft was certainly interesting. So, first off, you have 3 running backs going in the top 5. I mean, what sort of time warp hole in the space-time continuum gangster poop is this, right? Alex Smith going un. Okay, sure. Also, he's the first Urban Meyer quarterback, by the way. So cool. I mean, Braylon Edwards. So the stupid Michigan Ohio thing, like, it's got to stop because Browns fans hated Braylon Edwards just because he went to Michigan. I mean, how stupid is that? But Pac-Man Jones goes 6 out of West Virginia Mountain Mama. Take me home, country roads. Let's go. Troy Williamson, of course, goes 7 to the Vikings. And then look who the Vikings pass up. So Antrell Roll, Sean Merriman, DeMarcus Ware, Jamal Brown was a really solid offensive lineman for a number of years. Thomas Davis, Derek Johnson was a decent middle linebacker for the Chiefs for a number of years. Man. That's rough. That is rough. But the rest of it, so David Pollock, I think, would have been great except for the neck injury. He's really good now as a college football analyst on game day, so respect there. See here. Matt Cocaine Jones, like literally Matt Cocaine Jones. Mark Clayton, who, in terms of a one-hit wonder, had one great season in the NFL and then just completely fell off the map. In fact, let's look him up. Oh, Mark Clayton. Not the Mark Clayton, not Duper and Clayton. There you go. All right, yeah. So, 2006, 67 catches, 939 yards, 5 touchdowns. Probably could have been a Pro Bowler that year, and then just sort of fizzled out. Nada, man. But yeah, remember, like Matt Jones was the quarterback at Arkansas. 6'6", 222. Remember that's when Jacksonville had like David Garrard or Byron Leftwich, and they had the Twin Towers, like Matt Jones and Reggie. It's from Washington. Reggie, the wide receiver from Washington, he's like 6'5", Reggie something. So there you go. But arrests. When you have an entire Wikipedia section titled arrest, it's probably not great. Arrested at gunpoint, charged with felony possession of a controlled substance. Found 6 grams of cocaine in a jar. In a jar with possible weed in it. Weed is weed, so whatever. Arrested again. So there you go. So yeah, 05. How did this start again? How we go down this rabbit hole? But yeah, whatever. More criticize the Raiders for taking Fabian Washington, who is over Aaron Rodgers. You get all that, or Jacksonville too. But yeah. All right. Oh, who's the worst first round pick in Vikings history? Erasmus James is certainly up there. Last one. Haram. Oh, there you go. All right. So we got a couple. We got anything in the live chat? Oh, Erasmus James. Yeah, there we go. Oh, Ponder's the answer. I mean, Ponder. I like Christian Ponder. I think that the Vikings actually did him a massive disservice by making him a first round pick, because he was a guy who was pretty clearly a decent second round talent. But I mean, the fact that the Vikings drafted him 12 overall and needed him to be the savior, I mean, it just was not going to work out. All right, so we're going to fire up a mock draft, and then we're going to end the live stream for Monday. So we did. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh baby. All right, so this is a little bit off screen, but Burrow, Chase Young, Derek Brown, 1, 2, 3. Clavon Chason goes to the Giants at 4. What? Tristan Wirfs goes to the Dolphins at 5. They don't go QB. Tua 6 to the Chargers. Herbert falls all the way to the Dolphins, back again at 18, so it sort of makes sense. Judy, Ruggs, Lamb go 1, 2, 3. Wirfs, Becton, Wills off the board. Wow. All right, so Andrew Thomas falls all the way to 14. Man. All right, so Vikings are up. Let's take a look at offensive line. So Josh Jones is there. Our guy Ezra Cleveland also there. I don't think Cleveland will go as high as they're projecting him here, but again, could be shocked too. Cesar Ruiz. Wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, Denzel Mims, Jalen Reagor is there. Chenault, our man. Cornerback. Okay, we could wait on cornerback. So for me, grabbing Josh Jones here, or do I just say screw it and grab Ezra Cleveland, the Brian O'Neill clone, or do I just get my wide receiver choice here first? So I like all these guys. I probably would take Reagor of the top 3 if given my choice. So I'm actually going to go ahead and do that. So taking Reagor there. Then the mini run on wide receivers, Mims and Jefferson go. So I'm glad I grabbed my guy when I did there. Back to offensive line. I'm going to say screw it. You know what? I'm just going to do it. We're taking Ezra Cleveland. Damn the torpedoes. Screw you guys. I'm going home. Oh, we only did 1 round? Oh, that's a bad beat. So, yeah, decided to go with Ezra Cleveland and Jalen Reagor there. So, sutured up wide receiver as well as offensive line. I think Ezra, you could start him at left guard. I think he'd be fine in his own scheme. But, I mean, ideally, just put him out at left tackle. Let's just get the growing pains out of the way right away. Then kick Reef into guard or potentially move on, depending on what happens with the rest of the draft. And I think he'd be pretty fine there. But that's it. That's our Monday live stream. Again, Jeromes, thank you very much for coming along in the live chat, as well as everyone watching back on demand. You guys are awesome, and you guys help make this quarantine worthwhile. We're going to get through this. We're going to be all right. If you want to support the channel, pull us up in the Venmo. Link is below, or hit that join box. Find out how you can become a monthly or platinum Jerome, just like Joseph Gemario, as well as Chris Reisel. Shout outs to you guys for coming along and supporting great work. But yeah, we're back here 11 a.m. the rest of the week. We'll see you tomorrow on Tuesday. But until next time, Skol, production value.